Aisha Beau here, and I have popped the baby out, and now I am back. I couldn't be happier and more in love with our baby, our son. His name is Shai Bashiri Frisbee, and Shai means gift in Hebrew. His first name is a Hebrew name like his dad, David, and his middle name is Bashiri, and it means it's a positive omen. It's an African name, and it also means bringer of good tidings and prophet. I felt like it was definitely fitting because I just have felt since I found out I was pregnant that Shai is just anointed, and he will be and is a blessing to us. So I couldn't be more grateful and happy and in love. It has definitely been an interesting journey, a long ride since giving birth. As you can see, it was a very beautiful experience. As you can see, I didn't record the entire thing because at Lenox Hill Hospital, you're technically not supposed to take any videos, so I would have gotten in trouble by the nurses. And also there was just so much going on. I couldn't like have my mom like sneak some videos and stuff like that. So we ended up just mainly having photos. So I just want to talk you through the full experience. So, oh my gosh, where do I begin? So I gave birth on a Tuesday, and I actually started feeling contractions on Sunday. It was Sunday night, actually, like throughout the night, around maybe like 11 o'clock when I went to bed. I was feeling contractions, but I was like, maybe this is Braxton Hicks, because I had been having Braxton Hicks for literally like over a month at that time. And so, but it was just continuous, like it just kept happening, and it wasn't getting longer. And it ended up stopping. So I was like, okay, this is fine. It's not too bad, but it was definitely going longer than it had in the past. And then on Monday, I was feeling the contractions again. And I said to David, I feel in my heart that today is the day. So he, called them, told them that I was feeling the contractions, but they were so far apart that they were like, just hang in there, stay at home for now, you're good. Um, Throughout, like in the middle of the day, my contractions like started to stop or started to slow down, and then they stopped and I wasn't feeling them anymore. So I was like, oh man, like, false alarm. I was excited, but there was still something in the back of my mind that was like, it's coming soon. And at this point, I was past 40 weeks. Um, my weekly time frame was like on Wednesdays, and so it was almost 41 weeks actually at that point, and I had just been patiently waiting. I didn't want to induce. I really, really wanted for Shai to come when he was ready, and I was just like, I just have to be patient. I have to allow my body to run its course and do what it wants to do. So I was doing my best, and I was taking my time. And so what else happened? So then my contractions basically stopped, and I was like, oh man. And then that evening we were watching a movie, and it was like around like 7 o'clock, and all of a sudden my contractions started coming back intense. Like but they were long. There was like long intervals between. It was like 10, 15 minutes, like 20 minutes in between. Like it kept varying like all over the place, and they were just like so intense. And it's funny because people were like, you gonna know when it's a contraction. And because I was like, when am I gonna know? Like when it's real and when it's not Braxton Hicks. And like I knew, and I felt it in my back. So I was having like back labor. I was feeling the pain in my back, and it was just like debilitating. And I felt like a crazy person because it's like I would go through these contractions for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden it would stop and I would be fine. So I was just like, oh, oh. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I feel completely fine, completely normal again. And I have like a little bit of time before the next one comes. So they were still very far apart. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'm not going tonight. Maybe tomorrow is going to be the day. At this point, it's Monday night. So I was tired because obviously third trimester, exhausted. And also I'm somebody who loves to sleep. So I went to bed. I went upstairs, brushed my teeth, and I got in bed around like 10:30. And as I'm laying there, that was when things started to pop off. My contractions went from being 10 minutes apart to then 5 minutes apart and 3 minutes apart. And then like instantly, like it went so fast. And so I texted David. He was downstairs still watching TV. I texted David and I was like, I think the time has come. And so he comes like racing upstairs and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go get in the shower because I think it's time for us to go to the hospital. So he calls them, lets them know, what the time frame is. And he also lets them know that we're in New Jersey and they're like, you need to get over here ASAP. So I told my mom, she was like, okay. So we all were just like, we are ready. This is the moment we were waiting for. Okay. We have been so prepared for like weeks. And I think that's why he came after the 40 weeks because we were too prepared. So we had the bags in the car. All I needed to grab were like our pillows, and then like obviously phone charger, like little toiletries that I had like in the bathroom or whatever that I hadn't packed in our bag. But we grabbed everything after I took my shower. I took my time. I didn't wear any makeup, but I did do my brows. I made sure to put some brow gel on. The reason I didn't wear makeup is because I knew that it was just going to be a lot. It was going to be intense. I didn't know if I was going to sweat or not. I didn't end up sweating, but I didn't know if I was going to be sweating. I knew that there was just going to be a lot, and just like rubbing my face and having makeup get on people, on my fingers. I wasn't really into that, and like having it all over the pillows, and then also obviously having makeup on my baby. I was like, nah. In the past, I had thought about it. Like before I was pregnant, I was like, I'm definitely gonna have a beat face and a red lip when I give birth. I don't know what I was thinking, but no, I did not do that. I just put some brow gel on, and my great skincare routine was all that I needed. But we get to the hospital, we check in, and we get upstairs, and she goes to check how far I'm dilated. Let me tell you, your girl was only 1 centimeter dilated. Mind you, it is almost 41 weeks, and I was only 1 centimeter dilated. So they were like, oh, also, we got to the hospital in like record time, under 30 minutes. David was like, he put the pedal to the metal. We got there around midnight, and it was just so fast because the roads were empty. Like there was nobody on the road on a Tuesday morning at midnight. Like it was great. So they were like, okay, you're only 1 centimeter dilated. Do you want to go home and, labor for a little bit longer at home and then come back? And I was like, this was such a golden opportunity. This is the only time in which no one is on the road and we were able to get here quickly. If we go back and then come back, it's going to be traffic. It's going to be insane. Also, my contractions were so bad and I was in so much pain that I couldn't sit through another car ride. There was absolutely no way. So the other option was for me to stay there overnight for an additional night, and to get the epidural then, just so I could at least have like some peace, get like a good night's rest, and then we see where I am the next day. So I was like, yeah, let me go get that epidural right now and get it on and popping. So they put me up in a room, and when they were doing the epidural, like that process of the epidural, it didn't hurt, but it was just like, or like it felt uncomfortable. Like I definitely felt uncomfortable. They had me holding a pillow. I was going through contractions at the exact same time, but they needed me to like sit up straight. And I was just like, how am I supposed to sit up straight when I'm experiencing all of these contractions right now, like that are making me wince and making me like bend over? It was insane. So that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is real. I'm going to have to push a baby out of me. While I was getting the epidural, I was like, this is crazy. So getting the epidural helped me to relax. It helped me to no longer feel the contractions as intensely. When I had them, I was just feeling, it was just like a pressure that I was feeling instead of like the actual pain. So that was great, because I was now able to actually relax and go to sleep because it was late. I think by the time the epidural was done, like the anesthesiologist had come by and done it, I think it was like 2 a.m. And at that point, I think when they checked, I was now like 3 centimeters. So my body was moving at a fairly rapid pace, but they were talking about, oh, we might have to induce you. First off, this is not my, I'm gonna preface this by saying that my OB has her own practice, but she delivers at Lenox Hill. So the doctors that are there right now overnight, they're not my actual OB. My OB is gonna come. when it's go time in the morning, that kind of thing. But for now, it was the other doctors who are based at Lenox Hill who were overseeing me and whatnot. And I'm gonna be very transparent right now. Lenox Hill is a great hospital, but it's very white, and it's like a bougier hotel, hospital or whatever. And so, um, my OB is black. I purposely wanted a black OB because I wanted to make sure that I was advocated for and that there was somebody who, had my back throughout the entire process. So already seeing all of these white doctors constantly like coming in and being like, we might have to induce you. And, like I felt a little bit like on edge because I was just like, I don't want them to like force me to do something that I don't want to do. So I was just praying and holding on that my body would continue to do its thing and I wouldn't have to be induced. At that point, I was like, if I do, I do because I'm already here, but I really didn't want that to happen. So they're checking me, and they also have my belly hooked up to a monitor, just to monitor Shay's movement, to make sure that his heartbeat is still strong and all of that. And I had been doing these, they're like no stress tests, non-stress tests. And so they just check his heartbeat and movement and whatnot. And so when I was doing that before I went into labor, like over the weeks leading up, Shay he wouldn't move on demand and all that stuff. So like sometimes he was moving, sometimes he wasn't. And I already knew that it was a little bit tricky. And there was one point where the nurse, she had moved it. It was on his heartbeat. It was totally fine. It was doing great. And then she moved it because the heartbeat was intense, and David and I were talking, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the heartbeat, right? And I don't know why she moved it. I guess she thought that she didn't hear it or something. And so when she moved it, they couldn't find like the heartbeat or the movement or anything. So in that moment, 11 doctors come running in, and they're like, all right, get up. We need you to move. We need you to move your position. So I'm like, they have me like get on all fours. They have me like doing all this stuff, turning around, trying to get his movement and make sure that they hear it. And eventually they do. In that moment, I don't know if it was the epidural, but I think it was also just God and me like just just releasing and surrendering. I didn't feel nervous or scared in that moment. I knew he was okay. I knew that he was fine. I was just taking deep breaths. It was a little bit jarring because everyone just came in. They weren't really talking to David or my mom. They were just like moving, 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 making sure that I was just like, I don't know. I just felt like a specimen. There were just so many doctors. So, whatever. Eventually, I was okay. I was fine. And then I was able to just go to sleep, and they kept monitoring. Now, my times are going to be off right now because it was a while ago. It was almost 3 months ago now at this point. But the next time I was checked, I was 5 centimeters dilated. And I want to say that this was around like 8 a.m. at this point. I was 5 centimeters. And again, they were talking about, oh, we might need to induce you, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. So actually, yeah, 8 a.m. I think it was my doctor who came in, and but before that, they were talking about still trying to induce me. My doctor came, and I was about 5 centimeters when she came at 8 a.m. And she said that she was going to come back at 11 and see where I am, and then we can go from there. And so I was like, okay. And she seemed a little bit like irritated. Not with me, but I think she mentioned that she had to like give somebody a stern talking to, because I guess what I found out later from her was that they were actually trying to give me a C-section. And she was like, there is nothing wrong. She's progressing fine. There is no need for a C-section. Everybody just relax. And I later found out through my own research and whatnot that a lot of times these white doctors and these medical facilities are forcing and pushing Black women to do unnecessary C-sections for a number of different reasons, but one of them being the operating table is open. And I was there in the middle of the night. So a lot of times they want to like do practice. They want to do C-sections and have people observe and stuff like that on Black women and whatnot. And I don't want to be conspiracy theorist and say that that's like what was going down, But given the fact that it was completely empty in the hospital, pretty much like that wing was not that busy because it was Thanksgiving week. Um, I do feel that they were incentivized to try to force an unnecessary C-section on me. There was literally nothing wrong. My body was progressing, but for some reason they wanted to do that. But my OB shut that down. She told them who's boss and made sure that I did not have to experience that or did not have to change my plan. And again, there is nothing wrong with having a C-section. I am, if you have to have one truly, then absolutely. Or if you choose to do one, that is on you. But for me and my birthing process and experience, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to have a vaginal birth. So at 8 a.m., I was 5 centimeters. And then I think they came back around like 10 a.m. And then, like the other doctors came back around 10 a.m. and I was like 8 centimeters at that point. And then I started to feel, I was like, I'm starting to feel my contractions again. Is this normal? And they were like, yeah, this is fine. You can just, we can top you off. Do you want to get topped off on your epidural? And I was like, yeah. So I told them I wanted to be topped off. And then this was like a little bit closer to 11 a.m. And they checked again and I was 10 centimeters. So my body did its thing. And I think because I was in so much pain before the epidural, my body was having a hard time. It was taking a longer time for me to dilate because I was in so much discomfort. I was tightening up. But once I had the epidural, I was able to just relax a little bit more and allow my body to run its course. So at 11 o'clock on the dot, my OB shows back up and she starts strapping up. And we are like, okay. And mind you, at that point, I had just gotten topped off on the epidural. So I'm a little bit woozy. I was like higher than a kite at that point. I was like, whoa. And I think I was like leaning to one side while I got the epidural done. So like my right leg fell asleep. My right leg was just like dead to the world. And I was like, I remember being in my head like, come on, leg. Come on, leg. I'm going to need you during the delivery. You need to wake up. You got to wake up. I need you. And so she's strapping up and she's like, all right, we're going to do a few practice pushes. So David and I are like thinking, okay, it's going to be practice. But then she starts like getting herself together and because I guess she had checked and realized, no, I'm like ready to go. So we are about to like, actually, it's about to go down. So she's like, do you have any music that you'd like to play? And I made like a little random playlist with just like some random feel good music and like a few songs that I love, like some songs from our wedding day, Protector by Beyonce, because that's like my song for Shai, and like some other like really feel good music that David and I love. So David pulls out the speaker, he puts on the playlist, and as soon as I hear Protector by Beyonce, and I see everybody like moving around and like getting themselves together. I see my mom and everyone, we're just like excited and like David is like kissing me. I get so overwhelmed with emotion that I know those pictures that I showed earlier, I was crying and it wasn't because I was in pain or anything. I was just like so excited and like, oh my God, this is actually happening. It had been about 10 months of me like waiting, anticipating, and even longer because I wanted him so badly. You know my journey. You know that I wanted to get pregnant so badly. So the tears and the overwhelming emotion just hit me. And my OB looked at me. She was like, you okay? And I was like, these are happy tears. These are happy tears. And she was like, okay. So I lay back. They pull my dress up and they're like, okay. So I get myself together, put my legs up in them stirrups. And I'm about to give you some TMI. Should I give the TMI? Yeah, I'm gonna give the TMI. This is gonna be gross. But it started to smell. I thought I was passing gas. But your girl pooped, okay? I was pooping. Not pooped, pooping, actively pooping as I was laboring. And I was like, it smells so bad. Mind you, I wasn't pushing or anything. Like, I guess my body was pushing on its own. I didn't feel the poop coming out. It just was not a pleasant smell at first. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. And I said to David, this is so embarrassing. He was like, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. So I'm actively pooping. And then she tells me, she's like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to count to 5, and then I want you to push. And I want you to push and push and push for another 5 seconds. And then we're going to stop, we're going to breathe, and then we're going to count to 5, and we're going to do it again. And I was like, okay. And so I locked in that moment. And I told David beforehand, because we talked about how I wanted him to be during my laboring. And I, I was an athlete back in my day. And I told him that I just want to treat this as though like it's game day and we're locking in like it's a sporting event, and we're about to play. We're about to get in there, about to get in the ring. So I didn't really want so much like rubbing and like gentleness. I wanted him to be like, "You're doing great. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go." So we did that, and I don't remember the amount of pushes that I did, but let's just say we started laboring like a little bit after 11 a.m. And I gave birth at 11:28 a.m. So your girl was locked in. So it was just like, ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then breathe, and then do it again, and then breathe, and then do it again. And so I was just pushing, pushing, pushing. And I don't care what they say. If you have a good anesthesiologist who knows how to truly administer an epidural, you can fully experience your labor, because I did actually feel my baby coming out. It wasn't as though I didn't feel anything. I felt when Shai was on his way out and down. And there was some pain there, especially once his shoulders got through or they were like in there. That was the point where I was like, in my mind, I was like, I don't know if I can keep going at this point because I was so wide open. I was like, I don't know if I can keep going right now. But I was like, I have to keep going. Like there's nothing else I can do. Also, my doctor, she is crazy, which I love. But she was like, oh, his head is out. I want you to reach down and I want you to feel his hair. And I was like, okay. Like she really had me in there doing all the things and really experiencing it and taking in the moment. It was just so beautiful. David was coaching and cheering me on. My mom was in there holding one of my legs, and my OB was just like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I felt him coming down. I felt him moving, and I felt him coming, releasing himself from my body. And it was just, whew, it was truly it felt primal, like I truly felt like it was just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment. And I don't think there's anything ever in this world that I would experience that felt like that. And I'm grateful to have been able to feel it and to experience it, and to be able to push my child out. So that was amazing. He came out and he was covered in the nasty verdicts and stuff like that, but I was just so happy to see him. He was big and plump, and they plopped him on my chest, and I was just like, wow, this is my baby. And then they tried to get him to breastfeed and latch on. That was a whole experience. That thing hurt. I'm going to do an entire video on my breastfeeding journey. It was not easy by any means. I am breastfeeding now, as you can see. I am breastfeeding now, and it's so natural and easy, and it's an amazing bonding experience for us now. But when I tell you I went through hell to get here, to get to this point in my breastfeeding experience, believe me, it's not easy. It is something that needs to be practiced on both ends, for me and for the baby, because he doesn't come into this world knowing exactly how to latch on and how to breastfeed. So that was an entire journey. And along with the fact that postpartum depression hit me almost immediately, like after he got off my chest and they went to clean him up and measure him and do all that stuff, I was like overwhelmed with a hormone dip, and I started to feel a little bit off as soon as I gave birth. So I will, again, I'll be sharing a video actually in 2 days or 3 days or 2 days on Sunday about my postpartum depression and talking a little bit more about that experience. But for now, I just want to talk about the laboring and delivery and how beautiful that was. But I want you to know that things did happen afterwards, mentally for me and physically. But the process of delivery was fantastic. After that, I was definitely in pain, bleeding like crazy. I have had heavy periods, but nothing like this is nothing I've ever seen before when it comes to the bleeding after delivery. We ended up staying at the hospital for 2 additional nights. So I was there for 3 nights. We left on Thanksgiving Day because Shay was born November 26th. And we left on Thanksgiving Day. And, those 2 nights were very interesting because it was just like us trying to figure it out. Shay waking up, crying, me trying my hardest to latch. I didn't have any milk come in right away. I was being awoken by the nurses like every few minutes to just so they can check on me. They can give me my Tylenol and Motrin to help with the pain. I was getting up and changing my pads consistently. Yeah, they were waiting on me hand and foot, which was very nice. We had a very nice room there. I made sure I was eating regularly, drinking a lot of water, and yeah, and just, it was just the three of us. My mom went home, so David, Shay, and I were in the hospital for that time, and it was just a very interesting experience. Now looking back, it's definitely beautiful. Um, Thinking about the fact that we were just there, just trying to figure it out. David slept on the couch. I slept on the little bed. And yeah, oh my gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago. Like so much has happened since then. But but it feels good to be a mother. I love being Shay's mom. I love it so much. And in the process, I've made sure to do my best not to lose myself on this journey. It definitely got bleak. There were some dark times, but I've kept up with getting my nails done, making sure that I'm doing my hair, putting on makeup, and going to see my friends, having my friends over, and just like doing my best to maintain my lifestyle in a way. So that was my labor and delivery story. That was my son's birthing story, whatever you want to call it. Um, yeah. It was a beautiful, fun experience. It was fun giving birth to him. I am grateful that it was seamless and that it was a healthy experience, that he came out completely healthy. Shay did not have any ailments. He passed his hearing test, his vision test. He didn't end up having jaundice. A lot of kids have jaundice or found to have jaundice these days. He was measuring great. They were trying to tell me throughout my pregnancy that he's measuring small, he's small, blah, blah, blah. At one point, they were even thinking about inducing him at 30, I think 36 weeks, because they felt like his head size was too small, and the boy came out completely fine, a great size. And I'm just like, you never know, there are just so many tests and things that can throw you off in the process, but it's about trusting your judgment, sticking to your gut, and also having people who can advocate for you and having a team that advocates for you. And the fact that I had such an amazing, amazing, amazing OB who was there for me throughout my pregnancy and through the delivery process really made things even better. And then obviously having my husband and my mom there made the journey and the process feel good. I felt safe and covered, despite the other doctors at the hospital kind of stressing me out a little bit. But I could not have asked for a better experience, and I am just overwhelmed with gratitude. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty because it's not all roses. Motherhood is not so easy, but I'm going to get into that in the next video. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for watching this entire video. I know I've been gone for a few months now, but your girl is back. I am back and I'm ready to just showcase my life again and showcase Shay as he grows up and develops. And actually, speaking of Shay, let me introduce you to my baby boo real quick. Say hello. Hi. This is Shay. Shay loves to eat. He likes to play. He likes to laugh. This my baby. Yes, let's see the whole body. Yeah, that breastfed baby. Yeah, Shavy, the baby. All right, nice bird. He looks like me, right? Look. He's just lighter, but he looks like me. But he has been fantastic, and he's such a sweet baby. He cries when he's hungry and he's tired, and then aside from that, he is just trying to explore and try to do his own thing. That was our gift, my little love. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, you want to share your birthing experience, or you want to give me any tips on motherhood, be sure to drop them in the comments section below. I love comments. I always reply to them. So I can't wait to hear from you, and I can't wait to share the rest of my journey and my life with you. So thank you so much for rocking with me as always. And if you are new here, make sure you hit subscribe, and that you also hit receive all notifications so that you know when my next video goes live, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you so much again for watching. I love you so much. Until next time.